This is Sybert signing into Kane's Wrath on the map Mountain Valley for the finals best of 9 in the Panda New Maps 2v2 tournament. On the left side, making up team number 1 as the Orange Traveler 59, this is DuneTiger. Their ally to the north as the yellow GDI, it's Senna. In the south, making up team number 2 as the green Marked of Kane, this is Drive. And the cyan Traveler 59, player number 4, this is Futurama. Alright, it's the finals. It's a best of 9. This is a 2v2 tournament. 2v2 tournaments tend to run a little shorter in terms of the series length, but this one is the opposite. Finals are typically, best of 7. Occasionally we do see a best of 9 finals, but here we got a best of 9 finals and it's team games, so buckle up. This could be a long one for sure. Barely gets the cap. Futurama getting that cash back with that engineer. And an Awakened squad in the south from Drive, going to be securing the Tib Spike down there. It looks like there are also 2 Tib Spikes in the middle. Couple of things before this game gets underway. If you're watching this in March of 2021, then March and April, I'm going to be largely not producing videos. I'm trying to pre-produce some videos in advance, which I guess is what pre-produce means. But to produce some videos in advance so that I have some stuff to upload while I'm gone. But March and April will be pretty light months and definitely won't be in the comments nearly as much Futurama beaconing that. And then Drive says, no, you get it. You take it. So yeah, if that's coming up, then that's what you should expect. I'm going to be working out of town. I actually got hired to work on a feature film, so I'm very excited about that, which is basically what I do for my day job, but for a smaller company where I live. At any rate, big thanks to Panda for organizing this tournament. He apparently also made some of the maps in the finals. I think he said something about, like, he modified a Predator map. So I guess one of the maps was made by Predator and then modified, whatever that means, by Panda. So a number of these maps that you're going to be seeing today are quite new and also created by Panda or created for this event and modified from existing maps. Mountain Valley is one of those maps. Never seen a game on this map. Has kind of an interesting split where instead of expanding together, you actually kind of expand to opposite corners of the map. One player goes north, one player goes south, sort of. And yeah, and then you've actually got this kind of contested third field between both sides. But it's kind of interesting. The main field is also kind of light and sparse, but it's actually 2 different Tiberium regrowth spots. So that is indeed interesting. And lastly, I do want to say a big thanks to the folks who support me over on Patreon, Defibyoulater and the Bayou Boys, Oz Media, Isaac H, Timothy G, TheArbiter being some of those. Some of the people who have been around since the beginning, so to speak. But GDI, Double Traveler 59, and Marked of Kane. Something I forgot to mention, it's 1.03, so if we see an over-representation of Scrin factions, that would be why. Now, those of you who remember 1.03 from late 2020, I actually don't know when 1.03 kind of kicked up. It had a little slow start, and then it kicked up really in popularity last year, and then it kind of slowed back down as it had some problems balance-wise. But this is a tournament played on 1.03, and it's team game, so it's a little different. However, Scrin may still be a little bit overpowered. I know Marked of Kane and Black Hand both had some changes as well. But Scrin had the biggest overall buff. Scorpion tanks directly up against Seeker tanks. And with reinforcements and repairs, I don't know that this is a good idea for Drive. I actually don't know how different that engagement would have looked on 1.02+. It's very possible Drive would have crushed it there on 1.02+. And I think players now are kind of playing both 1.02+ and 1.03. It seems like a lot of 1.02+ replays have been flying around the place recently. So still a number of people playing that 1.02+, but there's at least some stuff still happening on 1.03. One tip spike going to be going down. Drive, still nobody has taken this tower in the south. The very corner of the map, no one has grabbed that. Temporal wormhole, or whatever this is called, to slow down units. I always want to call it stasis chamber, but I know it's technically called something else because it's a little bit slower. Or it's a slow field rather than a stop. Blink forward of one tripod. Is that a stealth tripod? It is. The disruption tower from Drive going to be coming down, providing coverage for the majority of those units and structures. Finally, the descents did clear away that Tiberium. Drive is going to try again, going from the second to the third base, and, well, with the third contested field in the middle, rather. Trying to take control of this area. A little bit of mind control shenanigans. That was an amazing EMP. 5 Seeker tanks all getting locked down at once by Drive. But Drive, once again, I feel like getting overwhelmed by the reinforcements, by the constant numbers, and that slow field definitely not helping as well. Lightning Spike is now down, and Drive has enough to crush the front line, but does he have enough to stick around? It actually looks like a little bit of trouble being caused by Futurama, as Senna is also having some trouble to deal with, which is why there's no reinforcements from Senna showing up to help out DuneTiger. And DuneTiger was not able to hold the line. I'm a big believer in repair and reinforcements, but in this case, DuneTiger literally had nothing. The only reason he was able to hold on was that slow field. And of course, everything is falling. His natural expansion, nice EMP, once again gets the stasis chamber as well for good measure. Not really a big deal. There's a sonic emitter. What a weird thing for someone to do to help out their ally, but it's a bit too little, a bit too late. Look at these Orca Strikes coming in. Everything from Senna too late. Hammerhead's now going to be completely uncontested. There's one buggy here, but man, is it going to take a long time for Hammerheads to kill this many Scorpion tanks, clearing up the refineries. And for a weird turn of events, we actually have a Marv out on the field in a 1.03 game. A blink forward of nothing. I think perhaps maybe just a bit of a misclick or something. I'm not sure what that teleport was about, as it looks like Drive continuing to push forward Senna and kick Senna out of his natural expansion. DuneTiger, having given up, is out of the game. Couple of sonic emitters going down, and this is going to be good for Senna if he can hold off that initial little squad of Seeker tanks. I almost called them Dev tanks, which is something else. So this is going to be a weird one-part Traveler 59, although I don't know how much Traveler 59 infrastructure Senna actually has. The answer is not a lot, like a couple of refineries and a power plant. No, 2 power plants and a refinery is really the only thing that he's got there. The Marv is the majority of the firepower here, but not necessarily in 1.03, so we'll have to see how that actually affects the use of this Marv. Lots of tripods are here, but they're not quite on the front line. Nice phase to save one of those tripods when it get locked down by the EMP, and this Marv on the front line, but how much damage will it actually be able to take? Not a lot of additional base defense is going to be coming in for either Futurama or Drive to help out in this fight, so tripods are just slowly shooting down infantry, which they are not the most efficient at. And one by one, these tripods are starting to get worked away at, but the Marv is the only thing left standing for Senna. Double engineer inside of that Marv, double rail guns as well. It's a powerful Marv, but assuming these tripods can still EMP it, it's going to be a tough thing for this Marv to overcome this many tripods if it gets EMP'd. Gonna try and pull back. I assume base defenses are queued up for Senna, but there's actually an area mind control of a zone trooper to take down some of these rifle squads and also take a couple of shots from the Marv itself. The Marv pulling back, but one sonic emitter is the only base defense that goes down. A curious case, and Senna has no backup plan to stop these tripods. Trying to fight with a distance, fight from a distance with one Marv is a tall order versus this many tripods. Slowly but surely, Drive and Futurama closing the noose around Senna, and that will do it. A relatively short game number 1. Senna has been defeated. DuneTiger leaving that game a little while ago, but Drive and Futurama making it to the end. And if this was 1v1s, Drive and Futurama would certainly be at the advantage, but we all know team games don't always turn out that way. So, game number 1, very solid win by Drive and Futurama. Let's find out what happens in game number 2, which takes us to the Crater of Carnage. No poker. So, maybe this is a Predator map? I mean, the setup of this map, I know there's a map that's like this, that's an official map, but it looks like the tip spikes have all been moved. I'm guessing they were evenly split. I guess those buildings are destroyed. They were evenly split there. It's funny watching all of these structures just collapse as we scroll past them. Because, of course, it doesn't actually load in the like, destroyed structure. It apparently loads in a structure and then destroys it, so you get a little simulation of the debris. Anyways, in the north, as the orange knot, excuse me, Traveler 59 is what he was playing last time. This is DuneTiger. And as the yellow Zocom, this is Senna. In the south, up 1-0, as the green marked of Kane, this is Drive. And his teammate as the cyan Traveler 59, it's Futurama. Alright, so Nod and Zocom, a distinct difference from last time. I mean, GDI and Zocom aren't hugely different, but of course they are quite different. And this is 1.03 Zocom. I don't remember seeing all that much about 1.03 Zocom. Doesn't mean they didn't have a whole bunch of changes. It just means that, like, Marked of Kane got some attention, all of the Scrin factions got some attention, Black Hand getting air units was notable, but I don't remember anything in particular about Zocom. I'm sure they had lots of changes happen. Actually, I think one of the upgrades got moved from Tier 3 to Tier 2, although that just might be on the Scrin side of things, rather than Zocom. But it's possible we're going to be seeing some unusual Zocom play. Maybe it'll just all come down to Firehawks and Zone Heads and that sort of thing, but maybe not. Drive with a relatively quick move to the middle of the map, and whoever did design this map, I mean, this does look like one of the official EA maps with the split of 4 players in the corners, equidistant between all of the bases, so there isn't really any kind of team advantage. It's much more a free-for-all map that people happen to be playing as teams. Although I wonder if this is something that's changed over time, because Red Alert 3, Kane's Wrath, Tib Wars, and maybe Zero Hour had some proper team maps. Drive going to be poking in here with a couple of bikes, gets a kill on at least one harvester, which is certainly nice considering he's investing, well, I was going to say 4, but it's actually 8 bikes into this attack, so he's looking to get probably more than just a single harvester, even another bike, so he's actually potentially looking for like a bike-buggy assault as he's going in here with this many bikes right onto the front line, jumps on that Scorpion tank and gets an insta-kill. A great move there by Drive, and now his own Scorpion tank's going to be showing up to the expansion of DuneTiger, and this is 2 games in a row. Relatively quick pressure to DuneTiger directly from Drive, just absolutely crushing it. I assume Senna is going to help him out a little more in this game. Of course, AP ammo would be tremendous with a couple of watchtowers going down strategically around buildings to help out the firepower of DuneTiger. Otherwise, DuneTiger might simply be overwhelmed and destroyed, turning this into another 2v1 where Senna bears the burden of lifting this game to victory for his team. And actually, no, that's a Futurama lightning spike, so helping out Drive a good bit here with an additional lightning spike, or helping out, yeah, Drive against DuneTiger here. DuneTiger, I think, with literally 1 harvester on the map. He's Scorpion tank versus Scorpion tank, but the bike in here does mean that Drive wins the fight, even with the watchtower putting out just teeny tiny bits of damage. No AP ammo on that watchtower, although I think AP ammo also got nerfed, so maybe AP ammo isn't actually worth it anymore. At any rate, DuneTiger is still in this game. On the right side of the map, AP ammo has been finished in between when I mentioned it, and just now the expansion is looking up and running, looking real good for both Futurama and Senna, which does not bode well for Senna and DuneTiger. DuneTiger going to be selling his MCV, and I'm guessing he's handing all of his cash over. Yeah, so he sold a bunch of stuff, and then he left the game so that his money should transfer to Senna. There are like some rules. I think if you just straight up die, if he sold all of his buildings, I believe nothing would transfer. I think the money just goes to nothing. But if you leave the game, which of course means you don't get to observe, you don't get to see how it turns out, and if you're on comms, you don't get to talk your friend through it. Well, actually, I guess in this case, he shouldn't be talking his friend through it, but you don't get to observe, you don't get to see what's going on in the game. But you do get to pass off the tib spikes and your money to Senna. So Senna does have that double tib spike going on, and Senna looking pretty solid. Again, I don't know that he has the strength in him to 2v1 Drive and Futurama, but we shall see. Now, I do wonder if when this game came out, there's the yellow on the minimap, he's going for the tech assembler. He gets the tier 3. Nice kill there, but there is the mind control. And we saw this actually last game. Oh my gosh, I have never seen that. That's hilarious. Is that the hitbox? Yeah, you can see the hitbox around the drone ship, kind of. Or actually, maybe that's just the light from the drone ship, tinting the color of the Firehawk. That's actually really funny that the Firehawk can do that. I don't know about that mind control of air units thing. That's kind of... Air units have always been safe from mind control. Now, this is one of the ways that you counter mind control, but it might be just... Oh my gosh, he gets a kill with the Firehawk's anti-air missiles. He gets a kill on another Firehawk. That Firehawk getting serious value for Futurama. I think it might be just the Prodigy that can mind control air units, as opposed to any of the cultists being able to mind control air units as well. Couple plasma missile batteries going to be clearing the skies, and shock troopers as well going to be trying to hold the line. Okay, there's a couple of tripods. Futurama's front line is looking a little weak here as call for transport comes in as well. Senna getting reinforcements, but 2 of them getting eliminated. A rocket squad, and I think both of the rocket squads got eliminated before they even landed on the field. Unfortunate there for Senna, as he needs every unit he can in this attack. I assume Drive is going to come in at some point. Futurama is actually going to be pushing the expansion of Senna just a little bit here. Not necessarily a lot of pressure, but I assume Drive is going to come in at some point and do something. Although he may not even have to, as this attack from Senna is just falling flat on its back. He's got a whole bunch of Predator tanks here, but no way to really, I guess, utilize them effectively against the forces of Futurama. There's the blink forward of the Prodigy. There's the area mind control with low on health, but he still manages to get in and get out. A couple of more Predator tanks under his control, just doing absolute damage to Senna, and Senna being just savaged in this game number 2. So I do wonder if FFA maps were more commonly played when Tib Wars came out, or if that was something that came out of like that work on Battle for Middle-earth or something, which is why, you know, Tib Wars, Kane's Wrath, Red Alert 3, I don't know about Tib Twilight, if that also did. But anyways, the obsession with FFA maps instead of team maps, or if it was purely just it had nothing to do with gameplay or what they thought people would like. It was purely, hey, we got limited development time, so we can either make team maps that don't work for FFAs, or we can make FFA maps and then people can just play teams on them. And that might honestly be what it is. But I do wonder if there's any kind of data to support the idea that people wanted FFA maps back in 2007, 2008. And then since then, it's actually trended more towards team games. That'll do it for game number 2. Driving Futurama charging ahead with this series. But it's a best of 9. We got a little bit more space before Dune and Senna are in trouble. Let's jump into game number 3, which takes us to Desert Rampage. And I think Panda said he created all of these maps in a relatively short amount of time. And I think you can kind of see it on this one, if this is a Panda map, as it is almost entirely featureless. It's this deserty texture and then a couple of mountains and a couple of holes, and that is pretty much it. In the north, as the green Zocom, this is Drive. Wait a second. Okay. For a second, I thought they were in corners, which sometimes team games do turn into corners, but not so in this case. As the cyan He's actually playing random. But, oh, as the cyan Scrin, this is Futurama. And in the south is the yellow GDI. This is Senna. To the right, as the Traveler 59 orange, this is DuneTiger. So you start out on blue, and this is a healthy amount of blue Tiberium. Then you've got a short walk to 1, 2 green fields, and that is all of the Tiberium that you control. This is an insane-looking FFA-type map. You also get a tib spike, which, you know, I guess it helps out a little bit, but, like, you got blue Tiberium and 2 green fields that you can base crawl to in Kane's Wrath. This is not Tib Wars base crawling. This is not Tib Wars 1.0 base crawling, where, like, you know, every building gives you a huge amount of additional build radius, and so base crawling just makes way more sense than moving your MCV. This is blue field, double green field, super eco kind of map. But we also have a number. Is he going stasis chamber as well? He's just Scrin, so no, that wouldn't make any sense. Although disintegrators do have a enhanced beams, which you can research at the portal. Okay, so the disintegrators from Scrin just have an attack damage upgrade, it looks like. Oh wow, someone actually building a growth accelerator. Every once in a while in the comments someone will say, hey, why doesn't anyone build growth accelerators? And the answer is 99.9% of the time, they're not worth it. But this is 1.03, things are a little bit different, and that's a blue field. So if it accelerates the growth rate of a blue field, and maybe 1.03 made Tib growth accelerators a little more viable anyways, then this may actually be worth it in general. Drive running around with a couple of APC rocket squads. Now, he is Zocom, so keep that in mind, although 2 of them do split off north, which is curious because he drives rear armor into his opponent, and then the other 3 split down south, which does make me concerned that that was possibly a reverse move bug, and that Drive didn't actually intend to send all 2 of them to their death, driving rear armor first into the waiting guns of DuneTiger. But maybe he did. Maybe he really didn't like those couple of APCs. Mine drop, absolutely crucial there, although it didn't do a huge amount of damage to one of the Predator tanks. It did significant damage to another one. And he may, no, the last mines, it looks like, did get cleaned up. So no tagging the mines on the way out for Senna. Senna going to try and run away. And hey, that was a nice little attack in concept, but that got absolutely shut down by Drive. Drive with his Zocom forces, pulling no punches, and expanding now down to the south, although it's just a warp sphere down here. No actual refineries there just yet for Futurama. Same thing for Drive. He's got long-distance harvesting going on at his 3rd field, but no actual refineries to hold that position. DuneTiger, 1 refinery up on his 3rd field, 1 refinery up on his natural expansion, so kind of splitting it, while the rest of the players seem to be going 2 refineries on 1 field before they drop their 1st refinery on the 3rd field. And still just continuing to long-distance mine. I don't know what the battle marker down here was. I'm guessing it was a rifleman or something running through a little bit of Tiberium. Didn't quite, Oh no, it's a sniper squad. That's why it's a little bit harder to see. 1st refinery going to be going down for Senna. Down 0-2 in this series, best of 9, so you got to win those 5 games. So you still got 3 games before you're completely shut out of the tournament. But no one wants to go down 0-5 in a best of 9. Although, considering how the last 2 games have gone, it does look like it's going to be a clean sweep. But, I mean, I also don't feel like those games were necessarily representative of DuneTiger and Senna. DuneTiger and Senna have both gone toe-to-toe with some really great players in 1v1s, and they both just got absolutely wrecked by Drive and Futurama in that game. So there's the stasis locking down all of those Ravagers, and not Ravagers that you see very often in 1.02, but hey, you're seeing them here in 1.03. Dev tanks on the right side going to be trying to just contend with this army, and equal numbers of dev tanks, I think, from Futurama, so it's not going to be really a firepower advantage for one side or the other. Gunwalkers making great progress on the left side, but there's going to be a sonic emitter coming down from Senna to try and help out DuneTiger immediately out of range of that sonic emitter. So yeah, the sonic emitter is there, but it's not really doing anything in this game. Cultists getting completely wiped almost by the Gunwalkers, or I think the Shardwalkers of, or those the Ravagers. Yeah, the Ravagers doing some insane damage to those Cultists from Futurama. Futurama with the aggressive MCV placement. I don't think this is for a casual expansion. I think he's going for a little bit more here. A couple more dev tanks on the reinforcement path, but 3 dev tanks can be overwhelmed by this army of Futurama. So DuneTiger, he's going to shoot his shot. He's going to try and do what he can, but he does not have the strength in just 2 dev tanks to take on the entirety of this army. 2 sonic emitters now down on the front line. DuneTiger has bought enough time for Senna to drop some additional base defenses, and oh, those cultists getting very close to be able to actually tag some of these units, but ultimately unable to do anything, and those Ravagers with some insane amounts of DPS able to put out those cultists and completely kill them. On the left side of the map, Juggernauts from Senna and Mammoth tanks now with the railgun upgrade crushing through Drive and taking the fight directly to him. An airfield gets dropped by Drive on the right side of the map as Futurama makes more and more progress forward, cutting down the sonic emitters, but more dev tanks showing up. The defense is desperate from DuneTiger. He's almost holding the line, but Futurama keeps pushing him further and further back. The same could be said for Senna on the left side of the map. Drive getting pushed further and further back. Goodbye, one Hammerhead. That was not a good response to this army. That one Hammerhead was never going to quite work out. And Drive selling off everything on the left side of the map, trying to alert his ally to the fact that he just got absolutely wrecked and that the main base of Futurama is likely going to be the next target for this gigantic army of Senna. DuneTiger has held the line. He has lost control of this tib field, but he has held the line. Perhaps that is all he needed to do to buy enough time for Senna to crush through Drive and now start crushing through Futurama. It's going to be Shock Troopers versus Juggernauts versus Mammoth tanks. And it would be nice if there were a couple of Hammerheads or APCs or something mixed in here from Senna to try and deal with these Shock Troopers. The Shock Troopers don't have blink packs, so they can't blink forward to get the kill on those Jugs, but the Mammoth tanks will slowly be dealt with. This is a small number of Shock Troopers, but I think they may eventually get the job done. The Mammoth tanks are actually turning and running. Again, no quick way to kill off these Shock Troopers for Senna. He's going to just turn tail and run a little bit there. Drive rushing in with a couple of Pitbulls and a couple of APCs down in the south. And dev tanks from Futurama getting spotted, but they're sneaking down the right side of the map. DuneTiger going to be under some serious threat from these dev tanks if they manage to sneak into the middle of his base. This is a lot of dev tanks versus just the 4 of DuneTiger. Firehawks also coming in for a bombing run. Do they actually get the nerve center? The answer is no, down to about half health. And Buzzer Hives versus Buzzer Hives, while through the middle of the map, Senna brings his entire army. Once again, a couple of, or just one APC. I thought it was actually more than one APC, but no. Drive with the harassment of a single APC trying to make something happen. And there's the blink out by somebody. Futurama has been defeated, hands everything over to Drive, and that attack going so poorly. Drive has been defeated. DuneTiger and Senna just crushing it in that game. Really, Senna more so than DuneTiger, but in this case, DuneTiger holding that line, and as you can see, it cost him quite deeply on the Units tab and probably on the Resources tab as well. No, he didn't flatline as much as Drive, so Drive truly flatlined. DuneTiger was just lagging behind Futurama and Senna, so his economy was still cranking a little bit, but of course not being able to access that third field meant that his economy was cut down somewhat. Another action-packed game in this series, and finally DuneTiger and Senna taking one back for their team. Let's see what happens in game number 4, which takes us to Pandora. On the left side as the orange Traveler 59, this is DuneTiger. Their teammate as the yellow Traveler 59, this is Senna. On the other side of the map, making up team number 2, losing that last game, but still leading the series as the green nod, this is Drive. And as the cyan Traveler 59, this is Futurama. A triple Traveler 59 game coming out here for game number 4. So I guess people, whether or not it's true, people are still feeling that Scren, maybe perhaps Traveler 59 in particular, is favored. Huh. Okay. Well, it looks like there are a couple of tip spikes on this map. Also, expansion points in the corner, which is like the funniest thing. I love the idea of hiding stuff around the map. You see it in StarCraft much more, but there's, you know, it works more with the game and the way workers work. I guess not for Zerg, but, you know, for Protoss and Terran, it works much more. And I love the idea of expansion points, which you still have to spend $500 on for an engineer, but that there are like these little points in the very corners of the map where you can hide sneaky things, which of course you could also do with an outpost, but people are less likely to build those and actually do that. But maybe if there's an expansion point, they'll try. Obviously, this is useless or virtually useless for expanding to the quote-unquote nearby green Tiberium field. But, you know, it's useful for hiding stuff. I just love that it's included. That's a great little detail on this map. Again, one that I expect to never actually see utilized by anyone, but it's a fun little detail. Once again, we kind of have this split where you start out together, you spawn in on the map together, but then your expansions are separate. They're on opposite sides of the map, or at least they're in different directions. Once again, Drive coming in here with his bike buggy harassment. We saw this in game number 1 or 2, I think game number 2 more, against DuneTiger, but this time it's against Senna. So Senna is dealing with this a little bit more handily. I think he was a bit more prepared. He was maybe expecting this out of Drive, and as a result, the Harvesters getting cleaned up here is less of a threat, although more bikes going to be coming in, so actually these Harvesters might be under threat. With these 2 Seeker Tanks here cleaning up the original attack, that's a good thing, but hey, that one Harvester ended up going down to the reinforcements that Drive sent in, so that initial wave of the attack was handled well by Senna, but not the reinforcements. He was not quite prepared for that. Futurama getting the scout off with that buzzer, heading through the main base. And Drive going to be taking another swing at actually DuneTiger, so he comes through with his 3 remaining bikes. I think he's mostly just trying to avoid death and see if he gets any kind of lucky shots off. Mostly, he's just taking damage and doing a little bit of damage to the Seeker Tanks, a little bit of damage to those Harvesters as well. Senna now going to be pressuring Drive just a little bit here. A couple of not dev tanks, a couple of disintegrators and a couple of Seeker Tanks, but Futurama is here to protect his buddy. This is the first time it feels like the team aspect of this team game is really coming forward. I love this by Futurama, utilizing that northern lane on the map, that kind of mountain separating out these attack paths and trying to sneak by some descents. But these disintegrators might have been better used back home. We'll have to see, as DuneTiger with Seeker Tanks and with Ravagers, a couple of descents as well of his own, as well as trying to assault Futurama, but it's not quite working out. And Futurama, does he know that's actually still that buzzer that's been there for the last couple of minutes of this game? Cutting off reinforcements, a great move here by Futurama, utilizing his disintegrators to stop the flow of reinforcements to make sure that the Seeker Tanks don't get through. And in this case, they're having to drive south. They're trying to escape in the same way that the bikes of Drive were trying to escape. But in this case, they're joining up the forces of Senna for an assault on the southern part of the map. There's that slow field once again. directly on top of the War Factory, directly on top of the units that spawn outside of it. Goodbye, Harvester, as Drive, this combo attack, absolutely savaging him, just shutting him down as one of these disintegrators going up to fully heroic, and Senna and DuneTiger have been pushed back as Futurama shows up. But Drive has taken some damage. Does Drive have any kind of an army to speak of? He's got some eco rolling. He didn't lose all of his harvesters, and he's got a big green Tiberium field that he can harvest over the next couple of minutes of this game. Cultists getting destroyed by these descents, and okay, they clean everything up or capture, mind control those units. But yeah, the thing for Drive that worries me is I think he has not much of an army. Now on the other side, look at this. Mechapedes from Senna, more, actually avatars, but more seeker tanks as well. Mechapedes, avatars, even a Devastator warship, and the drone ship all moving out in an aggressive fashion towards Drive, and his army consists of a couple of Scorpion tanks, even a buggy here, so he is still low on tech, and he's going to have to try and find some way to hold off this attack. If Senna's bringing the MCV, you know that this is not some kind of just poke in and see if I get lucky to do some damage. He's moving his MCV. He's invested in this assault, and he is going to try and make this work as a siege on the long haul, not necessarily a hit and run. DuneTiger now here, it looks like he's got the fast leg upgrade, so these Ravagers, which have apparently gotten a pretty considerable buffs over the course of 1.03, are now ready to rumble. They are ready to fight, to run in and run out. Nice area mind control, takes away one of the Annihilator tripods. Futurama able to take one back, but the Prodigy trades its life for it, so that was definitely not worth it in that case. A beam cannon getting some nice damage off, but just one beam cannon probably not going to be enough to turn this fight around, and both sides sending units to the southern half of the map to Drive's natural expansion to contend for this field and for the heart and soul of this game. But DuneTiger turning north as Futurama is looking to put some pressure on DuneTiger. Cultists going to their death. What was that? Futurama just absolutely suiciding his cultists onto the forces of DuneTiger, and this is a lot of gunwalkers, but the Seeker Tank Shard upgraded walker floaters of DuneTiger are going to be able to deal with those gunwalkers of Futurama, and here in game number 4, when the score is 2-1, it's looking like Senna and DuneTiger have a much better chance of evening up the score, making this a 2-2 series, kind of resetting the clock in theory than they did in those first two games. Game 3 and 4 have much more been a good representation from DuneTiger and Senna. There's another slow field going to be coming down. The Mechapede even bothers to step into it as he's going for the kill on the beam cannons, going for the kill on even the buggies, but really the beam cannons are the unit of care here. The reinforcements from Drive are pretty paltry. He doesn't have a whole lot heading to the front line out of these buildings. A couple of rocket squads, but not much more to stop the forces of Senna once they crash upon his base. And in the north, once again, DuneTiger, he's not necessarily making progress in his assault, but he has completely stopped Futurama from reaching his base, from shutting down his expansion. Unlike DuneTiger, who hasn't been able to safely harvest from this field in minutes, or excuse me, unlike Drive, who hasn't been able to safely harvest from this field in minutes, DuneTiger has claimed almost all of his natural expansion. Annihilator tripods getting phased there as the rocket squads putting up good damage, but now they actually can't do anything against the phased tripods. I guess technically you can kill phased units, but it takes a lot of firepower to be able to do it. I think you have to force fire with some kind of unit that splashes down the phased unit. Cultists once again being utilized by Futurama, but he's almost trading the cultists one for one. Every cultist that you see grab a unit and another cultist squad ends up dying without grabbing anything. Prodigy's tangling from both sides. This area mind control taking over units, and no, Futurama's Prodigy just gets destroyed there as DuneTiger crushing forward. More and more cultists coming out trying to swing this battle into the favor of Futurama, but it's just simply not working in the south. Senna continues to press forward as Drive just doesn't have much left on the front lines at all. He's got Harvesters retreating away as an area mind control takes over some more units, I think, for Futurama, and he's trying desperately to hold off DuneTiger. It's a narrow defense as the Annihilator tripod from DuneTiger kills off the tripod from Futurama, and Futurama has been defeated. If he had been able to take down that tripod, he may have stood a chance, but with Drive being pressured in the south and Futurama faltering in the north, as a whole, the game was going in the way of DuneTiger and Senna regardless. Drive has been defeated, and game number 4 goes to DuneTiger and Senna. That powerful Scrin Traveler 59 combo, and just spam out those units with the new upgrades, with all of the things that Scrin can do. It is looking very strong, very powerful, all things considered, but that does kind of reset our count. Both of these guys still need 3 more wins to be able to get this series in the bag, and based on how these first 4 games are looking, it no longer looks like it's going to be a shutout, a clean sweep. It looks like this is going to be a pretty tight series between these two teams. So let's jump into game number 5, which takes us to the map Tiberium Pantaloons. That's not actually the name of the map. It's Tiberium something, and I don't know the second word, so Tiberium Pantaenius. I don't know. On the left side, as the Cyan Traveler 59, this is Futurama. Having lost the 2 last games, making this score even up. This, as the Green Steel Talons, this is Drive. And in the north, showing great fortitude in the last couple of games, as the Yellow Scrin, this is Senna. And rounding out our 2v2 as the Orange Traveler 59, this is DuneTiger. So Traveler 59, Scrin, which kind of carries the guy descent rushing, is actually Scrin. Now I'm wondering, is he going to be making use of... Okay, he already sold off his portal and he didn't get the upgrade. So it looks like Senna doesn't really think that upgrade is worth it. I mean, descent rush, but I guess it could just be to secure this, stop this Tib Spike from being taken, but we'll have to see. A number of Tib Spikes on this map, quite a few. I mean, there are a couple near where you spawn. One there and one somewhere else, maybe? Well, maybe just one player gets one, and then the other player, not so much. A little bit of a city, a couple of blue fields spread throughout the place. I guess just one blue field, and then a green, big Tiberium field that isn't quite built up down in the corner of the map there. Then another Tib Spike up here, but again, expansion points here in the kind of like final expansion location with a couple of more Tib Spikes as well. But will we actually see those Tib Spikes, or those expansion points, be utilized? Probably not. It would be great if there was some kind of utility to this bridge, something, some additional attack path or something. But I don't think it's quite possible. And this is a mobile repair transport fiesta, as these guys dropping some mines, cleaning up those descents, keeping those harvesters safe. Mass repair is everywhere when you've got the MRT. And now, of course, the next question that everyone is asking is, is there going to be call for transport? Are these going to be flying MRTs? It looks like the answer for now is no. Again, I don't think it's possible, but it would be great if there was stuff like this, where you could designate this bridge as like a zone where you can't attack up or down it. You can only attack units there. So then there could be like an alternate, almost like a fast lane, that connecting different parts of the map that would keep you safe from outside attack, but you could still stop other units in that fast lane. And it could potentially work out for harassment, but I don't think the game code allows that. I don't think there would be any way to do that in a custom map. Senna going to be grabbing some of this blue Tiberium, keeping it safe with his descents, his gunwalkers, and his seeker tanks as he's looking to keep it safe, I assume. taking a little bit of damage on that Harvester, but nothing to worry about as Futurama takes a couple of shots and then takes some damage himself. Going to have to pull away from that point. It's into Dev Tanks for DuneTiger. Now he is contending against the power of Steel Talons, but let's see if Drive can actually hold his own. He is playing Steel Talons after all. Okay, so that's what it is. Yeah, Adaptive Armor is now at the command post instead of at the Tier 3 for Steel Talons, which I think is supposed to help out with the, survivability and the utility of Steel Talons over the course of this game, although... Okay, but slows the rate of fire. So, I guess it's just an anti-EMP ability. Mind Control once again being utilized, and DuneTiger, I believe, is the Traveler 59 one, and Senna is the Scrin one, so... Keep that in mind as we've got cultists on both sides, but only from DuneTiger, not from Senna. Gunwalkers versus Gunwalkers, but the cultists from Futurama may bring this into the favor of Futurama, as he may be able to mind control some of the forces of his opponent to swing the battle into his favor, although he may just be absorbing shots from the Gunwalkers of his opponent, and now, with the attenuated force field upgrade, he is going to be able to take that additional damage and push Futurama back. So it's going to be the war of the lightning spikes. Meanwhile, down south, Dev Tanks just now getting to the battlefield as it's mostly Gunwalkers and cultists on the front line versus these MRTs versus the airfield that just got constructed there by Drive. Bringing in a couple of Orcas to snipe down the Dev Tanks. They're clumped up and they take the splash damage. A great kill there by Drive. He should... No, actually, those are all Harvesters. Those are not MRTs hiding in the corner. So he is going to have a tough time clearing out these Gunwalkers. One Wolverine shows up to get in on the action. There is actually an MRT hidden in the corner there, which means the Harvesters are, I guess, just going to go back to work. And it's up to the base defenses and this single MRT, this new Titan, which is now stomping onto the battlefield to try and clear out these Gunwalkers. No reinforcements for DuneTiger, so he is leaving this attack to be killed off. He is not trying to pressure additionally with this attack. And eventually... DuneTiger does get cleaned up. Gunwalkers go down. And with no additional forces here, those Harvesters were actually safe. All getting caught up, unfortunately, trying to head to, it looks like, one refinery, and they're not actually driving to separate refineries. A little bit unfortunate. Harvester AI there for Drive. Always annoying when the Harvesters don't do their job properly, which, of course, is a problem and that has been plaguing. Well, actually, I guess it was also Brood War. People complain about the SCVs in that as well, but I think that's more of a pathing problem, less of a Harvester collecting AI problem. But anyway, Harvester problems always present with us, whether it's 1.02 plus or 1.03, or Drive just sent them all to the wrong refinery, one way or the other. Harvester problems. Prodigy steps forward and could actually... He mind controls a Rifleman squad, which actually was his doom, as the Hammerhead gets the kill on the Prodigy. A great move there by Drive. Additional Orca Strike going to be coming in. These three Orcas firing off their rockets and trading one of their lives to get the kill on that Annihilator tripods. Two tripods being cleaned up as the Storm Riders make their way to the front lines, but this seems a little bit too late. Stasis locks down the 5 Titans, but also I guess that power plant as well is safe for the current moment. Portal getting dropped down, another plasma missile battery, as I'm guessing Senna is worried about some additional Orca strikes coming in. He thinks he's going to be able to control the ground. Annihilator tripod shows up. This should be enough Titans to overwhelm this one Annihilator tripod, but presumably reinforcements will be coming in for DuneTiger. Oh, he's got one more Annihilator tripod slowly making his way to the south there. Futurama with a big army moving north now, even bringing his MCV. It's going to be up against Mechapedes, up against tripods of Senna, as Senna closing in already with a little bit of a base set up here. There's the slow field activated on a whole bunch of those tripods. No reverse slow field from Futurama to slow down the tripods of Senna. And Senna, it looks like with the better numbers with the force fields and no slow fields, is going to be pulling back from the front line. Cultist barely grabs mind control of one of those Annihilator tripods before the Cultists get pushed back. And Futurama, now with all of his tripods online, pulls back. No additional base defenses coming up, but 2 tripods being mind-controlled, and Futurama once again turns the battle into his favor. The mind control sealing the deal, as no additional base defenses needed, although 1 storm column going to be coming down for Senna, and that is as good as he is going to get at the current moment. Cultists coming to the front line, which seems a little bit dangerous. He's actively mind-controlling with those cultists and still putting them onto the front line. 1 tripod left for DuneTiger. He's trying to hold the line, but now this is a good amount of steel talents. Even a Titan going fully heroic, going to be contending with that Annihilator tripod and this storm column. Not necessarily a lot of anti-air for these Devastator warships, which don't do a tremendous amount of damage to units, but they will eventually work away at this army. Futurama still trying to hold this front line. Is he getting surrounded by the forces of Senna? Senna with 3 or 4 tripods on the right side there. And actually, no, that's a Senna tripod there. I think that was actually a mind control tripod that the cultists got eliminated on, and Senna now regains control of that tripod. In close quarters in the north, in close quarters in the south, these 2 guys contending and just bashing each other in the face from close range in both the north and the south. The Devastator warships step forward. They're getting a kill on a refinery, but it may cost them their lives as the Storm Riders are trying to clean up the Wolverines. The Pitbulls and the Rocket Squad's trying to clear the air, and an additional lightning spike coming down from DuneTiger to trying to eliminate those units on the ground. The MCV taking a lot of damage. Meanwhile, in the north, the tripods still staring at each other. Senna trying to reclaim what tripods he can. The MCV getting dangerously low in the south. Another storm column coming down from DuneTiger, but it may be too little too late. The Storm Riders have mostly been eliminated. The Dev Tanks have gone down, and the MCV gets killed. No more build queue for DuneTiger, as Devastator warships, well, rather 1 Devastator warship shelling from a distance by Senna there, trying to do what he can to eliminate the forces of Futurama, but that single Devastator warship in the sky is not going to quite be enough to stop Futurama. Futurama, which hasn't dropped a whole lot here at the front line, mostly anti-air base defenses, understandably, if he's worried about those air forces of Senna. But he's still trying to hold the line. He's not actively harvesting from this field, but he has claimed all of his normal expansion fields for himself and completely harvested them away. So he's got a lot of money taken over the course of this game. Something just getting captured there. I'm not exactly sure what it was, but also a Prodigy running around the map for Futurama, looking for some kind of angle, looking for something to do. And the Tier 3 about to get sniped by Wolverines and Pitbulls, not something you see very often. And then a whole field of power plants ripe for the picking, which could remove DuneTiger from being very much used in terms of being able to drop. Oh, he lost his MCV. That's right. Forgot about that whole MCV thing, as DuneTiger having some troubles there, staying in this game. Harvester from Futurama, absorbing a little bit of damage there. Not doing a whole lot. Descents, they literally just like surprised those Wolverines and those Pitbulls, and they got the kill on them, although I think the nerve center also went down, which really is limiting the options for DuneTiger, although at this point, with DuneTiger not having a barracks there, he literally has nothing. So Dune has been defeated. It's all coming down to Senna. Senna, who has now probably got a decent amount, depending on how much money DuneTiger actually had, but he's got a little bit of income coming in from DuneTiger, additional from his other income. And these harvesters are getting killed by... Oh, okay. Those are actually... I was like, those buzzer hives are doing crazy damage to harvesters, not realizing that it's actually the wrong color harvester for those units. Power plants and refineries going to be going down. Drive going to be looking to kill off that refinery first. A good choice. There's the slow field coming down for Futurama, as it's going to be a massive tripod versus tripod army. And there is going to be the stasis chamber locking down 5 or 6 tripods out of this battle, as it looks like Futurama going to be having to hold on the side, but the mind control is what's going to allow him to get extra value from this battle, and there is the back online of all of those tripods. Even one of the cultists surviving the buzzer swarm, barely with any health, just firing shot after shot before it finally goes down. More mind control for Futurama, taking more tripods away from Senna, and Senna's attack falls completely flat on its face. Futurama crushing through the front line of Senna. And most of Futurama's tripods are actually very high health as well, so he still has a lot of power left in those tripods. Contending now with Ravagers and Buzzers as they're taking damage from afar, and these tripods need to move forward and get some kind of damage out on the main base, on the infrastructure of Senna. Meanwhile, Drive starting to cut through the base that used to belong to Drive, the base formerly known as DuneTiger, rather, not Drive, as he cuts down another refinery, killing all of those power plants, killing those refineries as well, and now going for power plant after power plant, trying to cut the power to the front line, force the tripods and the Devastator warships to turn around and head for home. Even the Tier 3 could be the next target of Drive, as this is a great combo move. Futurama holding the front line. Futurama pushing Senna back at his own natural or third expansion, and Drive coming in for the backstab. The Wolverines, the Pitbulls, and the Hammerheads to cut down everything that Senna has, and that will do it for Senna in this game. If he is able to pull a win out from this position, that would be an absolutely amazing comeback in this match, but this is one of those cases where fighting it out to the end may not yield very different results to leaving right now. More area mind control, taking more tripods away from Senna and gifting them to Futurama. It's Skrin versus Traveler 59, but the area mind control, the Prodigy and the Cultists just providing value for Futurama as Senna taps out, types the GG, and has been defeated. Game 5, swinging back into Drive and Futurama's favor. Although we could actually see a literal repeat of the first 4 maps of this series, where it's 2 for Drive and Futurama, and then 2 for Dune and Senna. And that would actually be funny, taking us to 8 games, going 2-2, 2-2. Anyways, that'll do it for game number 5. Let's see what happens in game number 6, which takes us to the map Pipeline Fusion. So if you know pipeline problems, then this map will probably seem familiar to you. It does kind of look like someone literally took pipeline problems and just mirrored it, which I guess is a way to design a map, but you're really just taking a 1v1 map and literally flipping it on an axis right at the right edge of the screen there for the 1v1 map. But let's see how the heck this map plays. In the north, as the yellow Skrin, not going Crane first, this is Senna. Fighting well in that last game, but ultimately not quite able to make it happen. Yes, going Crane first as the orange Traveler 59. This is DuneTiger, team number 1. Team lagging behind, but only by 1 point. Don't count them out. Meanwhile, team in the south, the powerhouse, this as the green Steel Talons, this is Drive. And as the cyan, you guessed it, Traveler 59, this is Futurama. Once again, double Traveler 59 plus a Skrin in this game. Now, in case anyone is not familiar with pipeline problems, imagine that this map ended right down the middle of the map. Either side of this map, technically this left side of the map is what pipeline problems actually is. It's a 1v1 map, and it's got, you know, lovely mutant hovel and a lovely tib spike over here, blue tib and close to your base, EMP control center with a couple of defensive towers near it, and then an expansion point over here, and that is the 1v1 map for any of you who are not familiar with it. The Crane did eventually come out by Senna, by the way, just so everyone knows. This is the map where you actually do see a Crane come out in relatively standard play because of that fast blue Tiberium that it opens you up to. Now, on this map, it's one of those cases where the guy who goes for the green, which is the map, which is the Tiberium you start on, like more than not loses the game. The guy who rushes to the blue Tiberium and then tries to turn that into a fast army almost always wins the game. But this is 2v2, this is Drive, and that's Senna in the north, which actually Senna can absolutely kill Drive, so don't count him out for that reason. But Drive is going big on the green before moving his MCV to go for the blue. And normally that's a losing strategy, but it's Drive, so we shall see what becomes of it. Blue Tib in all four corners. Now, as this game goes on, I don't know how much Blue Tib will actually see regrow. Sometimes you see these outer edge attack paths being utilized to shut down the expansion of your opponent, but that won't necessarily happen if both players are good at defending their blue Tiberium fields. So we may actually see a point where the blue Tiberium fields haven't been harvested in a while and regrow to be a valuable point for the late game to contend over, or players will just kind of keep a slow, steady Tiberium harvesting on their blue Tib, and they'll never really lose control of that area. We'll have to see which way this game goes. Disintegrators and Seeker Tanks contending with the Gunwalkers of Futurama. It's DuneTiger versus Futurama on the right side, which I think favors Futurama, and Senna versus Drive on the left side, which feels a little more even, maybe a little bit favored toward Drive, but maybe a little bit favored towards the player playing Scrin. We'll have to find out. Those Ravagers, they just killed like 3 or 4 Mechapede segments with their Tiberium Agitation special ability. Yeah, it actually is called Tiberium Agitation. That's what was in my mind, but it's one of those things that gets utilized not at all ever in a game, ever, unless it's Master Leaf trying something out in 1.02/1.02 plus. So, Tiberium Agitation. In theory, it's an interesting attack move. What was that shadow? That shadow was the Slender Man of Shadows for that Storm Rider there. Storm Rider. For that Annihilator tripod there. I saw the Storm Columns, the Storm Clouds, the Ion Cannon Storm, the Ion Storm, and I called it Storm Rider because there were Firehawks bombing a war factory. Pitbull's going in for a little bit of harassment. Not quite going to work out there. One Pitbull is going to have a hard time killing all of those Harvesters. Drive, on the other hand, going to be losing a Harvester that's long-distance mining to Senna, and this is a bit problematic for Drive. Okay, no, apparently you literally can have one Pitbull attacking Harvesters, and it actually will get a kill, and Senna will just do nothing about it. So I guess a Harvester for you, a Harvester for me. We are trading equally with these Harvesters. Once again, the Firehawk's going to be coming in. Great use by Drive to bomb out war factories, to bomb out Tier 3, to shut down his opponents in that way. And Railgun, I guess, accelerators, but then also adaptive armor being activated by this Steel Talons player, and that is why you see all of those animations playing on top of the Steel Talons units. And they are going to try and crush through these Annihilator tripods. There's the stop, the stasis chamber locking everything down, but is that just one tripod husk? If he could get a couple more tripod husks for Drive, that would be fantastic. If he was able to, is there an engineer inside of that? There may have been an engineer inside of there, but Firehawk's coming and clearing out the Devastator warships, completely wiping them from the face of this map. And this game actually is playing out a little bit differently as you see players starting to take their third base location, if you count the blue field as their natural expansion equivalent. As they start to take this third field, it's starting to look a little bit different. You've got this kind of angle here. Oh, maybe the distances are different. The distances might be a little bit different from the 1v1 version of the map. Things may be actually a little bit more spread out. But I feel like seeing the clashes here between the two green fields is super common, but not so common to see them kind of on this angle in between the expansion and the main base. Once again, the Firehawks coming in with some pretty insane bombing runs. Do they have any bombs left for this Tib Spike? That actually wouldn't be a bad idea. Take down the Tib Spikes if you've got a spare turn. They're not going to be defended almost certainly. And Drive, or DuneTiger taking over so many of these Mechapedes. Can the remaining Mechapedes clear out the Cultists and claim back their friends? It looks like the answer so far is yes. A couple of Mechapedes being mind-controlled still by DuneTiger. One of them going down, and DuneTiger losing all of his cultists, but it may have actually been buying enough time or doing enough damage to the forces of Futurama. 3 Mechapedes do still survive, but a lightning spike is here. A couple of seeker tanks are here, but they get eliminated. There's the Prodigy blinking forward, grabbing the MCV and selling it off as another Mechapede goes down. Futurama winning some, losing some, as railguns versus lasers on the other side of the map. These Annihilator tripods, one more will certainly be going down, but the Titans and the Mammoth tanks taking some damage. The EMP not really being a factor here, as only one Titan being EMP'd by so many tripods. How many tripods was this? How much potential EMP output was that? And yet, not being utilized. The husks getting crushed there. An unfortunate thing for Drive to do is to crush the husks. I mean, EMP firing off takes away the force field. Doesn't actually slow down the tripod, but just removes the force field from that battle. The Mammoth tanks have gone down. The Titans will fall eventually. Where are the reinforcements? 2 Titans slowly making their way to the front line for Drive, and Drive going to try and, I guess, kill these last Annihilator tripods with a couple of Titans. But unfortunately for Drive, never able to reclaim those husks. On the other hand, Senna is going to walk a couple of engineers there. There's the blink back as he snipes a tripod husk. A great move by Futurama. The area mind control and the blink working in tandem to try and slow down this attack from Senna, and it certainly does slow down the attack from Senna and draw attention onto himself. Ravagers versus Descents on the right side of the map, as the Ravagers just absolutely savaging those Disintegrators and cutting them down. The explosion of Descents just flipping up. Like, look at those physics simulations as the Ravagers just impact those Descents and just absolutely destroy them. The Descents flipping and flying into the air like they're on trampolines or something. It's so funny to watch them get hit by those blasts from the Ravagers, and then they just flip up into the air. Dune has been defeated, as Senna is now going to be in a 2v1 situation, and if Senna is not able to make this happen, then we will be in another 2-game advantage situation, which means the only way for DuneTiger and Senna to stay in this series would be to win the next 2 games, and then we literally have a repeat where 2 players win games, and then 2 players win games the opposite way. Army inside of Drive's base. A couple of Mechapedes are going to be the response, and Senna is not giving up on this fight. He doesn't have a whole lot left here in this assault. An engineer, no, doesn't get sniped, and actually just stops there and stealths as Drive gets saved by Futurama. Futurama keeping his teammate in this game, but losing Mechapedes, losing tripods. He does snipe the engineer, which is a great move there by Futurama. Drive still in this game technically, but he's not really doing a whole lot, so it actually is going to be, oh, there were actually the Firehawks. 8 Firehawks still on this map. Where are they going to pop out? It's here. So it is a 2v2, or it is a 2v1, but it is almost a 1v1 as another drone ship pops out at just the wrong time. Man, if he had bombed that airfield just a couple of moments before, that could have been devastating to Senna, losing that mothership or whatever he was planning on doing with the drone ship after it finished constructing. But he would have lost all that time that he spent rebuilding his drone ship, which would have just been out the window. And he may still have a... No, I guess DuneTiger didn't have a drone ship when he left, so he doesn't get one. Mechapedes and Ravagers for Futurama. They're trying to find some kind of damage somewhere on the map. This game turning into absolute chaos as Drive has almost been eliminated from this map, but as long as he has got cash in the bank, as long as he has got these airfields on his side, and he's still got Tip Spike here, so he can still rebuild those Firehawks if he loses some of them. Actually, where are the Firehawks? I just realized they're not at home. They've just bombed something. I'm not sure actually what it was. Senna not going to wait this one out. He is not going to take this one lying down. He is taking the fight to Futurama, and he may actually have what it takes. I'm not sure what Futurama has to stop this attack. The green reappearing here in the middle of the map. Couple of bombing runs taking down these portals, slowing down the production of Senna, and he also goes for power plants, slowing down the production that way as well. Senna is here to crash upon the rock. That is Futurama. Futurama standing strong in many of the previous games. A couple of hammerheads from Drive, getting some great kills on the infantry, completely undefended there. And now these Lighter tripods going to be taking additional damage, even if they don't go down. This is that much less work that Futurama has to do. Phases one tripod there, gets a second one as well. Could even target down the harvesters. Hey, why not? Ravager's slowly but surely killing this extractor in the north there. Meanwhile, these Mechapedes returning back home for Futurama, and they're going to be going right through enemy territory. Slowfield gets activated. Most of these units for Senna are caught in it, but a couple of those phased tripods still running around. Once again, the Descent's getting cut down by the forces of Drive. Those AP ammo hammerheads being so good for him, and yeah, he did actually get AP ammo before he lost all of his infrastructure, so that is indeed good that he's got that additional firepower on those hammerheads. Both of the tripods get taken over by Futurama, and is this enough to kick Senna out of this game completely? As once again, the battle marker in the top right-hand corner is that Ravager just attacking that refinery. And the tripod, it looks like, will eventually go down, but this is completely taking the wind out of the sails of Senna's attack. Remember, Senna was collapsing with almost everything that he had upon Futurama, but Futurama and Drive have turned that attack around, cut down all of those tripods, and forced Senna to kill his own Tier 3 units. Gunwalkers versus Gunwalkers. The cultists trying to get in on the action, but they're getting shot up by Senna as they try and run past that battle. More Firehawk bombing runs, I guess, is really the only answer here. Did that refinery actually get killed off by these Ravagers, which are now going to be killing off power plants, and they will actually get the kill on that power plant? One more of the Ravager squad members gets killed off by that buzzer. It's always a danger there with those buzzers being so dangerous. One tripod on the side of Futurama. He's also got his Prodigy running around. Keep in mind, this is Scrin versus Traveler 59, so one side has the temporal wormhole and the Prodigy, and the other side has the static shield, whatever it's called, the stasis shield, and the Mastermind. Firehawk's taking a lot of damage, but also doing a lot of damage to the infrastructure of Senna. Does that matter? He's got this army out here on the front line. It's going up against two tripods, which seems like a tall order, but an additional tripod of Senna does show up. Something is constructing by Futurama, but he doesn't have the cash to finish it quickly. He's strapped for cash, and this one phased tripod taking a little bit of damage. That eventually Gunwalkers are falling, and the tripods of Senna have been defeated. Even an area mind control being utilized to take that one tripod out of the picture. And it's been a long, hard fight, but Senna has been defeated. Drive and Futurama taking game number 6. They need just one more win to seal the deal and to take this tournament finals home for themselves. But Senna and DuneTiger have not been making it an easy battle for them. Let's see what happens in game number 7, which takes us to the map Prophecies, which is another one of these desert maps with perhaps very few features on it. It's sort of a plain-looking map in a lot of ways. Kind of an unusual spawning location split. In the north as the green, I believe, Steel Talons, this is Drive. As the Cyan Traveler 59, this is Futurama. One win away from victory. As the yellow Black Hand, this is Senna. And as the orange Traveler 59, this is Dooney Dune. DuneTiger, Dooney Boy. He's that Dune-like figure in your mind. Huh. Those are actually very cool little pedestals that you see around there. They've got just like a missile frozen in place. That's a really great little touch on this map. 2 tib spikes there, 2 tib spikes there. And I guess that's really just it for this map in terms of capturable structures. So 1 tip spike per player, basically. At first blush, this map looks like it would be a 4-player FFA kind of map, but I guess the spawning positions, you're like slightly closer to your opponent than you are to, or to your ally, than you are to your third field up here or your natural expansion, depending on which way this goes. I guess this will be another one of those games where this is DuneTiger's natural and this is Senna's, or maybe they both try and contend for the middle of the map. Not exactly sure how this one is going to play out. It looks like Drive says, this is mine. He wants to try and get up to this high ground area. Buzzers going for the scout. It looks like from both sides. Couple of rifleman squads. Drive almost always consistent with his rifleman squads in 1v1s, in team games. He gets that scout out. He hasn't necessarily done every game of this series, but he's done it pretty darn well, and that's the downside of having those Black Hand Harvesters. No stealth, so you take just that little teeny tiny bit of damage from the Rifleman squad. Not a big deal at all. It shouldn't make a difference in this game, that little bits of damage from those Riflemen. Onto the high ground goes the Refinery, as Drive is looking to take that middle field as his natural expansion. Descent's actually running in here. Dune gets a kill on 1 Harvester before being pushed away by Futurama. Futurama with his own Descents, he should be able to hold this attack. I mean, that's only a couple of Seeker tanks, and he's got those reinforcements right there ready and waiting. Meanwhile, in the north, a couple of Scorpion tanks, 1, 2, 3 Scorpion tanks and a buggy passing by the forces of Drive, and Drive just has the 1 Titan, which, yeah, Titans are better than Scorpions, but not necessarily in those numbers. Pitbull also going to try and get in on the action, but 2 more Scorpion tanks showing up just as more Titans are also showing up. Harvesters taking a couple of extra shots. Of course, these are heavy Harvesters, but they are not invincible Harvesters, certainly. Scorpion tanks now getting shut down. There are enough Titans to hold the line and push back the Scorpions of Senna to stop this Black Hand monster from flaming down all of those buildings. And Futurama returning the favor. He's like, hey, you're going to Descent rush me. You're going to kill one of my Harvesters. I will kill one of your Harvesters as well. Seeker tanks for DuneTiger going to be trying to cut down an additional Harvester of Futurama, but it's not quite going to work out here. Gunwalkers trying to deal with the Descents, but the Descents on top of the Gunwalkers actually just going for the crush there, as these Descents are still going for the Seeker tanks instead of killing the Gunwalkers. I don't know what Futurama is doing here, but he's actually going to end up losing all of those Descents. He's got a couple of Gunwalkers and a couple of Seeker tanks also going to be contending in the middle of the map, with a couple more Seeker tanks against the forces of DuneTiger. And Dune going to be turning north to get his Seeker tanks on, or his Descents on top of these Seeker tanks, and also try and stop on, or close the distance with these Harvesters. The Titan's going to be going for the crush as well, but it won't actually matter. Drive loses all 4 Harvesters. No money in the bank. Unpacks his MCV, packs it back up, as these Scorpion tanks and those Descents causing so many problems for Drive. And I think a Catalyst missile may have actually just fired off somewhere on the map there, but I'm not exactly sure where it was. It was down here in the south. Futurama also losing a Refinery, losing some Harvesters, and losing Seeker tanks as well, as DuneTiger and Senna seem to have completely turned this game around, almost from nothing, almost from nowhere, and have made this into a nice advantage for themselves. Oh my word, look at this. We've got a Redeemer engineering facility. People said it wasn't possible. We've also got an air tower. People said it wasn't possible for Black Hand to build, or for not to build a Redeemer in 1.03. Futurama just letting this extractor die, letting this heroic Descent kill off that Refinery with the help of that lightning spike. So there you go. This Harvester also going to be going down. I don't know what Futurama's doing. He's just, like, not paying attention, I guess, or something. Oh, well, eventually, that fully heroic Descent squad does go down. railguns on these Titans, and it looks like Drive did have enough cash to get out a couple more refineries onto the front line. He has re-established himself, but he doesn't have a whole lot to defend against these descents. And, well, one harvester going down, second harvester full of Tiberium, out of range of that watchtower almost, as the second harvester goes down, a third harvester taking even more damage. Drive trying to strike out against his enemies, but it's not quite working out back home. A couple of purifiers are going down, which is a great move for Drive, but can he stop the Redeemer? Can he keep up the onslaught? And can he afford to have lost all of those harvesters back home, forced to sell off absolutely everything that he does not absolutely need? And no, Drive has been defeated. Futurama has been defeated. DuneTiger and Senna crushing it here in game number 8? What is this? Is this 7? I think this is game number 7. Yeah, because Drive and Futurama have 4 wins under their belt, and now Dune and Senna have 3 wins. They need one more win to seal the deal and send us into the ace match, or Drive and Futurama will simply win this tournament. Let's jump into game number 8, which takes us onto the map Tiberium Processing. We actually do have a subway hub on this map. On the left side, our team still down by 1 point in this series as the Orange Traveler 59. It's DuneTiger. In the south, his ally playing as the yellow Zocom. This is Senna. In the top right-hand corner, as the Cyan Traveler 59, this is Futurama. And in the south, as once again the Steel Talons, the green, this is Drive. Well, we have got ourselves some fast leg descents going on. Oh, actually, I didn't realize. Yeah, they've got the enhanced beams upgrade as well. So, I don't know if it's just no one is buying that, but they're not keeping their portal around to purchase that upgrade. So, I guess people don't think it's particularly valuable or particularly worth it. So, this map, you got tib spikes in the corners, and then, of course, you got the subway hub, which I think in this case does almost literally nothing. It's just, I think, just more a cool design choice for the map. Yeah, it doesn't... Oh, no, there are actually subway entrances. Oh, okay, here as well. So I believe subway entrances are a bit like tunnels, so if you control this subway hub, although I don't know that it's actually true in this multiplayer map. This is like in the campaign. You can use the subway terminals to move units around the map. I don't actually know if that's true in this game as well, but no one ever actually does it if it is. And only like Tournament Coastline is one of the few maps that actually has it in, I think, in Tib Wars, but not in Kane's Wrath. Anyways, you got your main Tiberium field, then you've got a natural expansion, you've got a third blue field, which is, you know, potentially there to be taken, although, of course, it's starting very low on Tiberium. And there isn't actually 4 of them, there's just 3, so it's almost, it's, I guess, an asymmetrical map from, like, north to south. You've got 2 blue fields, which gives an advantage to the players in the north, so a left-right split really does work out much better than a north-south split in terms of playing fairly on this in a team environment. Futurama, he's been sharking around the map with these disintegrators. He's been looking for damage, and he has not found a whole lot of it. Yeah, he's got a tib spike, which is always nice, cutting out that income from your opponent, and over the course of the game, a Tiberium spike or 2 can make the difference in terms of who's got more cash if both players are relatively equal on efficiency, relatively equal on sort of all things. See Tiberium, it looks like coming in kind of a gift to Senna as DuneTiger decides to use that ability for his ally instead of for himself. Disintegrators in the north, heading across the northern edge of the map for Futurama, and will he actually be able to find any damage against DuneTiger? Dune, it looks like, is prepped for this, is ready. He may even have a buzzer hive all queued up on the production tab, and it looks like he does on the defensive tab have that buzzer hive, which, you know, that is a little bit of a problem. You've got a little bit of cash just being utilized, but not necessarily actively used in the game. It's just sitting there banked up, ready to go. in case those descents show up. Cultists being utilized by DuneTiger. I guess we do have the Battle of the Traveler 59 in the north, and then the Battle of the Non-Traveler 59 in the south. Senna gearing up with his powerful GDI forces, or his Zocom forces, rather. So potentially Tib field suits, AP ammo, all the upgrades for the infantry. Oh, actually, Tib field suits literally just finishing, as I mentioned it there. So potentially lots of infantry coming out from Zocom. Gunwalkers from DuneTiger starting to push Futurama a little bit, and of course cultists almost certainly going to be a big part of any battle. The Descent having called off their attack 2 or 3 times are now just stationed in the north, not really doing a whole lot. Senna cutting off a couple of forces up to the north. He's sending a small contingency of his army to try and, I'm guessing, reinforce DuneTiger up there, although he stops in the middle of the map kind of curiously there. And infantry, I guess, just running through the Tiberium or something. Futurama, I guess, will hold this front line. He's got some base defenses, he's got some reinforcements, but the cultists are making any kind of a defense more and more difficult. Good grab by that buzzer hive, killing off all of those cultists, letting that gunwalker return back to the control of Futurama. 2 harvesters going down in the descent, waiting for the open opportunity as Even Drive sends in a hammerhead to get the kill on the cultists, and it gets cleaned up eventually. But a great little strike out there by Futurama. He struck and he did some damage, but not game-ending kind of critical damage to DuneTiger. DuneTiger can recover, but his economy has been slowed, has been hampered. He needs to be transferring these harvesters off of that main field anyways and over to his natural expansion. Lots of rockets, even an MCV here for Senna, so he is pretty darn committed to this attack. It's going to be War Factory versus War Factory, base defense versus base defense. Actually, not War Factory, but barracks on the front line as Futurama's gunwalkers and even a secret tank joining in on the battle, and DuneTiger collapsing in from the north, once again making the southern part of the map the contended area between Senna and Drive. Those powerful, powerful Titans need that railgun upgrade if they're going to stay relevant much longer in this game. And Senna's hammerheads, I believe, here on the left side. Drive had some hammerheads running around the map earlier. I think that's his returning now to the front line and taking a couple of shots at the forces of Senna. But this is going to be a drawn-out fight, almost certainly, here on the southern quadrant of the map. Senna with a pretty aggressive MCV placement, but can he hold the line? Titans, almost certainly railguns being researched behind the scenes somewhere. No, actually, no Tier 3, so railguns are a long way away, and the tech center hasn't even been started here. Area mind control takes over one Titan, always frustrating to deal with as DuneTiger makes his mark on this battle. The Hammerhead step forward. That may have been a mistake as they trade out 3 or 4 hammerheads for not doing a whole lot, and this has just become a mess of base defenses and buildings here in the middle of the map. Storm Column trying to do some damage, but it's mostly just attacking Buzzer Hive buzzers, which is basically doing nothing. I mean, the buzzers aren't ever going to kill the Storm Rider and the Storm Column, and the Storm Column is just attacking units that get instantly replaced. The Titans have fallen or been pulled back off of the front lines, which means that front War Factory, $2 grand invested into holding the front line that goes nowhere. The first tripod out on the map for DuneTiger here in the south, as well as these Predator tanks from Senna, just trying to push back this front line. The MCV is now going to be under threat, and Futurama, without much in terms of reinforcements, heading to help out this fight. A beacon gets dropped by Drive. I'm not sure if he's just like, hey man, are you going to help me out in this fight? There's the MCV cap and sell as DuneTiger gets $220 back for the sale of Drive's MCV. That's almost as bad as when someone flips your car. You sell it to them for a deal, and then they just turn around and make a profit on it. But it's even worse because it's like you didn't choose to sell it to them. They just stole it, and then they flipped the profit on it. Goodbye, Drive's main base. Goodbye, Drive's natural expansion. Keep in mind, he does have a barracks. He does have hammerheads being produced out of this airfield in the north. He's still in this game. He's got a couple of Titans as well, which might be able to slow down this assault, maybe even curb it for a moment. But the tripod's coming in from Drive, or from DuneTiger. DuneTiger. The additional rocket squads as well are going to spell doom for these Titans, even if the Predator tanks didn't already doom them to death. Goodbye, Heavy Harvesters. You have been king in another match, but in this game, you are lambs to the slaughter, as everything from Drive just gets annihilated. He's got one refinery here. He's going to try and unload this last load of Tiberium, and that is like as the walls are collapsing around this base, this guy is still doing his job. He's trying to get that last load of Tiberium, and he is accidentally going to be left for dead. Wow. Senna, a merciful warlord, as he leaves that refinery up and running. No, just kidding. He's like, make them leave, and then tell them to turn around and go back and kill that Harvester. Harvester gets eliminated. Refinery gets eliminated. Everything for Drive, pretty much. Area Mind Control grabs one of the tripods. The other one, it looks like it missed, although that Area Mind Control didn't last very long, and also thought it grabbed both of those tripods. Like, visually, it looked like it grabbed both of those tripods. Well, he's going to do what he can. It is Futurama against DuneTiger and Senna. Drive is also in this game, but by so little that it almost doesn't matter. And DuneTiger rushing in, Mechapeds and Cultists trying to just break the front line as Drive has been given control of everything. There's the slow fields going to be coming down from both players. Cultists trying to retreat away from these Mechapeds, but of course, slow fields going to be bubbling up against each other, interacting in that way, and Cultists grabbing a Gunwalker for just a moment. There's the fire sale, and Drive is giving up. He's tapping out. The scan even going to be coming down, and Drive has been defeated. And that means DuneTiger and Senna win game number 8, sending us into the ace match, which sends us back onto the map, Pandora. So apparently the way this tournament works is after the first 7 games in the series, you can then replay other maps, but the first 7 are the Panda maps. In the north, as the orange Traveler 59, this is DuneTiger. On the to the side, as the yellow GDI, this is Senna. That is our team on the left. Meanwhile, our team on the right, as the cyan, this is Futurama. And to the south, as once again the green Steel Talons, this is Drive. Drive, Senna, DuneTiger, Futurama, every single one of them has been putting up a good fight in this series. Once again, GDI, Steel Talons versus Traveler 59 and Traveler 59. So we've got a Trav on each team, and then 2 GDI factions on each team. That's definitely been the sort of the status for 1.03 is lots of scrin. You know, half of the games are just people playing scrin, and then a little bit of GDI, less so of the other factions. And I guess really just scrin and Traveler 59. I feel like Reaper 17 hasn't seen much of an uptick. Reaper 17 still the sort of awkward middle child of the scrin sub-factions. I guess sort of the Marked of Kane of the sub-factions. But, you know, we've seen some Zocom. We did see one game of Black Hand, but of course Black Hand had its heyday in 1.02. So that was really the Black Hand patch of the game, was 1.02. And even 1.02 Plus for a large amount of time was the Black Hand version of the game. I don't actually remember who won this game in the first time, who won this map, excuse me, the first time that we saw it. There was a big battle over this field, and actually I think it might have actually been the same spawning location. So Drive, or DuneTiger and Senna on the left side, Drive and Futurama on the right side. Tip spikes there in the middle, but also in the corners. Oh yeah, the expansion points. I forgot about that. Never get utilized, but again, I just love that they're there. Photon Cannon going down on the front line. Mine drop, sneaky, sneaky mine drop by Drive. And catches that MCV with another, or MCV, catches that Harvester with another mine drop. A great position there by that APC, or by that MRT. And cleaning up the mines is a short order, but grabbing that Harvester kill and escaping with all 5 MRTs. Escape with all 5 MRTs is a great thing for Drive. What a fantastic opening for him in this case. DuneTiger going to be pressuring the expansion of Drive just a little bit, but Futurama and Drive joining together to deal with that attack, slowing down Senna's economy, slowing down his natural expansion by just a little bit, forcing some additional base defenses to be created, and rerouting the spending. Rerouting the spending away from getting your economy up that much faster to defending your natural expansion. Always a win for Drive. Of course, Drive had to do a little bit of that himself, but I don't think he actually lost any Harvesters to the attack. Couple of Seeker tanks, even a Ravager or 2 running around the north for DuneTiger. And once again, we've got the Dirty Scrin mind control boys in the north, and in the south, we've got our good and valiant GDI players, if we can just be obnoxious as possible, or as seemingly biased as possible. But to be honest, the mind control stuff, I'm not a super fan of, but, you know, there are ways to deal with it, and it's not my favorite mechanic for a game, but it's not the end of the world. Wow, those descents did literally nothing. I forced a couple of Harvesters off the line, and actually that Harvester bugging out might have been the most damage that they actually did. I guess when I'm playing, I hate mind control a lot more than when I'm watching. Like, as a detached observer or a disinterested party, I'm like not really a fan of mind control as a game mechanic. I think StarCraft 2's implementation of it is better than Kane's Wrath and CNC3's implementation of it. But playing against mind control, that's actually where I'm like completely in favor or against it, entirely dependent on whether mind control is being utilized on me or whether I'm using it. But I'm not actually very good at using mind control, so it's mostly I just don't like it. But watching other people have to deal with it is much easier, much more enjoyable as an activity. DuneTiger in the north, Futurama ready for the defense. Both of these teams playing it much more mild, much less all guns out or all guns blazing, going all out to try and start these attacks off right away. I mean, this is game 9 in a long series where it has been back and forth, neck and neck, pretty much every single match of this series. Orca Strike going to be coming in, clips that refinery, does a little bit of damage to the descent as well. There's the slow field coming out on both sides. And I guess this will, you know, basically come out to be a net 0, as both sides getting slowed down by quite a bit. The cultists not quite able to close the range. They do grab one Gunwalker. DuneTiger not packing along a lot of cultists for his own use. Seeker Tank makes it out of the slow field and then turns around again. I think that was a little bit of a pathing problem, as it maybe was given an attack command, or an attack move, but because it hadn't turned around that that area, it got caught. Stasis Chamber does survive. More cultists being produced, and a Rifleman also going to be running away. I was like, what is going on there? But it's actually area mind control. Did he dodge that? Ravagers get the kill on the Prodigy, and the area mind control taking over the tripods, and then there are the engineers to reclaim those husks. So get the husks back up and running, and don't have to worry about any more of that mind control if you've got the engineers on standby to reclaim the husks. DuneTiger heads to the north of the field. Ravagers brought along in this army, but in the south, Senna gearing up for a big battle as well. Railguns versus railguns. all over the place, and a beacon goes down by Drive. I guess he's going to be calling in an Orca Strike or something, as he's going to try and take down that stasis chamber. Mind control by Futurama grabs one of the tripods away from DuneTiger, and I'm not actually sure if DuneTiger is going to be able to stick around for very much longer. The stasis chamber gets eliminated on the other side of the map, and a teleport away as the shockwave artillery locks down some of these units, some of these structures, but not really doing a whole lot there. And that was a great move by Drive, taking out that stasis chamber and just eliminating those cultists from being produced for a little while. A couple more Firehawks, it looks like, going down. I'm not sure what their purpose actually was, but more cultists being produced, so I guess the stasis chamber got rebuilt somewhere by DuneTiger. And hey, what are you going to do? Traveler 59 is going to travel. That's just how they are. Armory coming up for Drive. Most likely getting composite armor. That's not something you see very often. Also, most of the time people try and hit, like, planetary assault carriers or something with it. You know, they try and hit some big, heavy targets with that supersonic airstrike. Both sides gearing up for just a gigantic fight as who is actually going to close the distance, who is actually going to kind of lose that defender's advantage and strike out against their opponent. Mammoth tanks on one side, mammoth tanks on the other side with a couple of titans. And this is literally the longest I have ever seen armies form up like this, with just like little shots fired one way or the other. Juggernaut's going to be potentially forcing the engagement here, as Drive is going to be engaging with this battle. Mammoth tanks, MRTs, zone troopers all getting in on the action against sonic emitters and the forces of Senna. Shockwave artillery going to be firing off almost certainly for both sides, but one side has a way to negate it as Mammoth tanks getting caught, 3 of them by that EMP. Drive starting to push forward, but does he have enough? Meanwhile, in the north, Futurama dealing with DuneTiger and Senna, trying to join forces with even a couple of Mammoth tanks and Juggernauts getting in on the action, but Drive calls down the orbital bombardment on top of DuneTiger's forces. There's the area mind control, and the Juggernaut changes sides as well. Meanwhile, in the south, Drive is pushing forward. The MCV of Senna is all but destroyed, and no amount of mind control could save that MCV at this point. Too little, too late. Futurama and DuneTiger falling to pieces here in the north, but Drive may be able to turn north and finish off what was left. The power of Steel Talons in the south reigning supreme, and now turning north to deal with the remainder of the forces of DuneTiger, who is the only one left in this game. Senna backs out, and Futurama and Drive have not quite sealed it, but they are dangerously close. Mind control for DuneTiger, able to take over a tripod, and the stomping of that Titan eliminates another husk. Futurama with his own Juggernaut under his control, firing away that mind control, man. It's a powerful thing. More tripods changing sides as Futurama and Drive crush through the forces of DuneTiger. The GG moments away, as a true miracle would have to be pulled out of his hat for DuneTiger to really make this one work. Even the Prodigy going down as Dune has been defeated. And that is the conclusion of the Panda 2v2 tournament finals. Futurama and Drive are your champions. Narrowly beating out Dune and Senna in a 9-game series, going the distance. But that last one, once the battle started, Drive just crushed it. Futurama and Dune having somewhat of a less clear battle in the north, but Drive crushing through Senna in the south. That will do it for this series, for this video. Thank you all very much for watching, and this is Sybert, signing out.